In 1969, two computers, one at UCLA and one at Stanford, were connected by an experimental network that would later become the Internet. The goal was to send the word login, but after typing just L and O, the system crashed. That means the first ever Internet message was simply LO. It was a small moment at the time, but it marked the birth of an invention that now connects billions of people worldwide. Back then, sending that two-letter message was a breakthrough. Today, we send over 300 billion emails every day. Hippos might look like gentle giants, but they are among the most aggressive animals on the planet. They can run faster than a human at speeds of 30 miles per hour, weigh over 3,000 pounds, and have jaws strong enough to snap a crocodile in half. Despite being herbivores, they are highly territorial and will attack boats, cars, and even humans who get too close. Each year, hippos are responsible for more deaths in Africa than lions, crocodiles, and sharks combined. So while people fear sharks in the ocean, they should probably be more afraid of what's lurking in Africa's rivers. On November 24, 1971, a man known as D.B. Cooper hijacked a plane, claimed he had a bomb, and demanded $200,000 in ransom. After receiving the money, he instructed the pilots to take off, then parachuted out of the plane into a stormy night. Despite a massive FBI search, Cooper was never found, and neither was most of the money. The case remains one of the greatest unsolved mysteries in modern history. Over the years, dozens of suspects have been investigated, but the true identity of D.B. Cooper and what happened to him remains a mystery. Before 1967, if you wanted cash, you had to visit a bank during working hours and speak to a teller. But that changed when the world's first ATM was installed in London at a Barclays bank. Unlike modern ATMs, this machine didn't use plastic debit cards. Instead, customers were given paper vouchers coated in radioactive ink. Yes, radioactive. The machine used this ink as an early security measure to verify transactions. The idea came from engineer John Shepard Barron, who thought of it while taking a bath. Today, ATMs are everywhere, with over 3 million worldwide, but it all started with a radioactive piece of paper in 1967. By 1966, the Beatles were the most famous band in the world, but their success became a problem. At concerts, fans screamed so loudly that the band couldn't even hear themselves play. The situation reached a breaking point during their final tour, when their concerts were measured at 131 decibels, louder than a jet engine. Tired of the chaos, the band decided to stop touring altogether and focus on studio recordings. The result? Some of the most influential albums in music history, including Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band and Abbey Road. In 1959, 9 experienced hikers in Russia's Ural Mountains were found dead under mysterious circumstances. Their tent had been cut open from the inside, and their bodies were discovered scattered around the site, some with severe internal injuries, others missing eyes or tongues. Even stranger, some of their clothing had high levels of radiation. The Soviet authorities ruled it as an unknown compelling force, but theories range from an avalanche to secret military experiments to paranormal activity. More than 60 years later, the case remains unsolved. In 1962, the world came terrifyingly close to nuclear war. The Soviet Union had placed nuclear missiles in Cuba, just 90 miles from the United States. One Soviet submarine, believing war had already begun, nearly launched a nuclear torpedo. The only thing that stopped it? A single officer named Vasily Arkhipov, who refused to approve the launch. His decision likely prevented a global catastrophe. Just days later, both the United States and the Soviet Union reached an agreement, narrowly avoiding what could have been the end of civilization. In the early 2000s, Zimbabwe's economy collapsed, leading to one of the worst cases of hyperinflation in history. Prices doubled every 24 hours, and the government started printing absurdly high-denomination bills. The most infamous, a $100 trillion note, which at one point wasn't enough to buy a loaf of bread. Eventually, Zimbabwe abandoned its currency entirely and switched to using US dollars instead. Before becoming a Hollywood icon, Marilyn Monroe worked in a defense factory during World War II, helping assemble remote-controlled aircraft used for training missions. These early drones were used to simulate enemy planes and test anti-aircraft defenses. It's strange to think that one of the most glamorous stars of all time was once helping create military technology. During the Great Depression, many families couldn't afford entertainment, but one board game became a huge success: Monopoly. It allowed people to pretend they were wealthy even as they struggled in real life. Ironically, the game was originally designed to critique capitalism, yet it became one of the best-selling board games in history. Komodo dragons might look like slow-moving lizards, but they are among the most dangerous predators in the world. Growing up to 10 feet long and weighing as much as 150 pounds, they can take down prey many times their size. For years, scientists believed that their bite was deadly because of bacteria in their mouths. But recent research shows that they actually inject venom that prevents blood from clotting, causing their prey to bleed out slowly. Once bitten, an animal may try to escape, but the Komodo dragon simply follows it until the venom takes full effect. And when it's time to eat, they devour everything: bones, flesh, and even hooves. Despite their slow appearance, Komodo dragons are patient, efficient killers. Napoleon Bonaparte was one of history's greatest military strategists, conquering much of Europe in the early 1800s. But his downfall at the Battle of Waterloo in 1815 didn't just mark the end of his reign, it reshaped the entire continent. After his defeat, European leaders gathered at the Congress of Vienna to decide how to restore stability. Borders were redrawn, alliances were formed, and many of the countries we know today were shaped by those decisions. It also helped lay the foundation for modern diplomacy, as European nations started working together to prevent future wars, at least until World War I came along a century later. Most of the ocean is teeming with life, but there's one place where nothing survives. An area called the Atacama Trench, located in the Pacific Ocean off the coast of South America. At its deepest point, the pressure is over 8,000 times greater than at sea level, making it one of the most extreme environments on Earth. Unlike other deep-sea trenches where life has adapted to survive, this area is so low in oxygen that even bacteria struggle to exist. Scientists believe it could offer clues about how life might, or might not, survive in the most inhospitable places, including on other planets. When we think of deadly animals, we often picture snakes, sharks, or lions. But one of the most dangerous creatures in the world is a nearly invisible jellyfish. The box jellyfish, found in the waters around Australia and Southeast Asia, has venom so powerful that it can shut down the nervous system of a human in minutes. Unlike regular jellyfish that just drift in the ocean, box jellyfish can actually swim and hunt their prey. Their venom attacks the heart, skin, and nervous system all at once, making them one of the most feared creatures in the ocean. Some victims don't even make it back to shore before collapsing. The best defense? If you're ever swimming in their territory, wear protective gear, because even a brief encounter can be deadly. Sharks have been roaming the oceans for over 400 million years, meaning they predate not just dinosaurs, but even trees. While forests, as we know them, only appeared around 350 million years ago, sharks had already been thriving for tens of millions of years. In that time, they've survived 5 mass extinctions, including the asteroid impact that wiped out the dinosaurs. Some ancient shark species looked very different from the ones we know today, but their ability to adapt and evolve has made them one of nature's most successful survivors. Despite their reputation as fearsome predators, they play a crucial role in maintaining the balance of marine ecosystems. So next time you hear about sharks being scary, remember, they've been around a lot longer than we have. History, nature, and science are full of surprises, and the more we learn, the more we realize how much is still out there to discover. If you enjoyed these facts, let me know in the comments which one stood out to you the most. And if you'd like to hear more stories like this, consider subscribing. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.